Truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Welcome to INCRadio South Central State Satellite Studio. We thank you for joining us here this morning. We are going to be talking about traveling to Thailand. And it's been a hot minute since I've ever traveled out of the country, but our guest today just came back this past weekend. Is that correct?
Monday.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Arnie from Fort Worth.
And,
where I'm at today.
And I'm Nathan, your host for today. And we also have our tech here in studio. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. This is Melanie. I'm also from Fort Worth.
Running our cameras and sound. Hopefully our computer doesn't freeze. We've been having 2 computer freezes this morning. So if we happen to drop off here, just hang on. We should be back because it's been an interesting morning. But our question of the day, which will be dropped into the chat. Have you been to Thailand? And if you haven't, maybe you've traveled somewhere abroad. We'd still like to hear about it. Absolutely. So go ahead and drop your comments there in the live chat. But let's go ahead and jump into our travels to Thailand. So when did you leave for Thailand?
I left last Sunday. So like on the 29th, is that? Or 28th of August? 28th of August. I left in
not too long
July.
ago. You were there for about a week, right?
I was there for about 6 days, yeah.
6 days? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious. The flights, do they go directly from Dallas to Thailand or what?
No, I had to lay over in Japan.
In Japan?
Yeah, so I did a layover in Japan and then from Japan to Bangkok.
Okay. Probably the weirdest like connecting flights that I've done was like from Florida to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And we flew to like LA and then Alaska and then Japan and then Philippines.
Oh, I kind of had to do that on the way home because like all the flights were full. So I had to go from Bangkok to Taipei to Ontario to Sacramento back to Dallas.
Yeah, just zigzagging your way around the world.
I had to come back to work.
All right. So, how long was that flight, by the way?
From Dallas to Japan is about 12 hours. And then Japan to Bangkok is another 6 hours.
Okay. These flights must be going faster because I remember it taking like 24 hours to fly across the Pacific.
It is not 24 hours. Plus, it got newer planes.
It might be the time change. I remember when you go in that direction, you're going with the sun's rotation.
Yeah, so you're losing time when you go there. But when you come back, like when I left there on Sunday, I got back on Sunday. So when you go there, you lose a day. When you come back here, you keep your day. So
yeah, it's just bizarre when you go like 24 hours and you're like, where did the sun go? Shouldn't the sun come up by now? But okay, you land in Thailand.
Yes.
What immediately stands out to you about the country?
The humidity. It was so humid. I mean, we talk about Dallas, Texas being humid. Over there, it's just like so thick. And as soon as you step off the plane, you're already sweating.
Right.
It's not as hot, but the humidity is really high.
Yeah, that adds that unpleasantness factor to it. I know that even if it's like 70 degrees, but if that humidity is at 100%, it feels miserable.
Yeah. And like I said, I was like taking 2-3 showers a day because it was just so hot. So every time I went back to the hotel, you have to.
Yeah, you get so. Is that like when you step out, you're soaking wet immediately?
Yes. And not only that, because, I wear glasses. So as soon as I come out of my hotel room, my glasses are all fogged up.
Now, I'm curious, how prevalent is air conditioning in Thailand?
It's actually lots of places have it. I think because they know of the humidity, especially the hotels. And fortunately, the one that we stayed at, the AC was really good, where we had it at 16 degrees Celsius.
I don't. They do the conversion.
Yes. All I know is like it felt good. Like I actually had to be under a blanket every single time.
That's good to know because I know like when I last time I traveled to the Philippines, air conditioning is not very prevalent there. So sometimes you'll take public transport, there's no air conditioning, or you'll stay in a house, there's no air conditioning.
Well, over there, a lot of their buses don't have the air conditioning.
Okay.
And then they also have another mode of transportation, which is called a tuk-tuk,
Yeah.
which is it's kind of like the tricycle in the Philippines,
Right.
except instead of only fitting possibly 3 inside, you could do 5. So it's a motorcycle, but it's pulling more of a carriage than a little
Right.
carriage.
For American audiences, it'd be like the sidecar.
Yes, but
It's a sidecar, but it's more.
it's behind. It's not
Oh,
actually
it's
at the
behind
it
instead
is
of on the side. Okay.
it's behind. So the motorcycle's in front of you, and then they have a full bench that could sit like 3 people, and then they have another bench kind of on the side that could probably do another 2.
You're not getting the exhaust of the motorcycle directed
No.
at you, are you? No? Okay. That's good to know. All right. So seems like the weather stands out
It does.
as soon as you got there. What else stood out to you about it?
The people there are very friendly. They're very welcoming, always smiling. I guess that's one thing they say is people there are always smiling. They it's actually not good for you to get upset in public or yell in public and all that stuff. So it's just they're very mellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when it's hot and humid outside, you probably don't want to raise the temperature any more than it already is. You know what I'm saying? But so where in Thailand did you travel?
So I just went to Bangkok.
That's the capital, correct?
It is. And the reason I stayed in Bangkok is because my nephew was actually doing a study abroad program. And so that's why I went, was
Okay.
to go drop him off. And then I stayed just to go check everything out. And I stayed at the old part of Bangkok because there's like the old Bangkok and then the newer version of downtown Bangkok where it has all the high rises and everything. But the place I stayed at were the older buildings.
Mhm.
They're so ornate over there where a lot of it looks like it's all gold,
Right.
even though
right.
I know it's not. And they've got flowers everywhere. They've got string of lights. So it's just very pretty.
This seems very common with like older buildings. It's like, oh, we got all this time on our hands. Let's go all out on like decorating it, making super.
No, but even on
Ornate.
the streets, like
Yeah.
the middle meridian, I mean the median in between the roads,
Yeah.
they've just got beautiful flowers, different colors, and then they got lights stringing all over the streets and everything. So it's just pretty.
Now, is modern Bangkok a lot like what you'd see in modern America, where everything's kind of like this brutalist architecture, where everything's just
Yeah.
very plain?
High rises, glass buildings. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's pretty, but you know, I didn't go there to go see a city. You know, if I wanted that, I'd go to like to New York or LA, and so that's why I opted to stay in the older part of town.
Okay, and Bangkok is close to the water, right?
It looks like it is, but I mean, there's rivers around it, but like beaches and stuff, you probably have to go maybe an hour or so, 2 hours to
Yeah.
get to a beach. Yeah.
Are the beaches worth it in Thailand? as far as
I
you know?
didn't get to go because I was too busy trying to get my nephew situated,
Mhm.
and I was busy getting a massage every day.
You talk about how affordable.
It's very affordable. I had when I first got there, and they've got signs of like, you know, massages everywhere. For an hour massage, it's under $10.
Under $10.
Under $10. And then if you get like half an hour, it's like $4. And so the first time I was like, okay, we'll just do the hour massage. The next day, I did like half an hour foot massage and then an hour massage. And then the next day, I'm like, forget this 2-hour massage.
I don't know how you could go 2 hours on the side.
Oh, it's very relaxing after walking all day long in the heat. And because it's indoors, it's air conditioned. So it felt much better than being outside.
Oh, I see. I see. Where else around Thailand did you travel?
That was it, just Bangkok.
Just Bangkok?
Mhm.
Where in the city, though? What kind of places did you visit?
Oh, so of course I went to their museum, their national museum, just to see what their culture is like. And then I visited the campus where my nephew's going to go to school, and pretty much shopping, a lot of malls. Their malls there are massive compared to our malls here.
Really?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know.
malls are kind of dying here.
Yeah, over there, no, it's a place to go because it's free air conditioning.
Oh yeah,
And so
makes sense.
it's always a lot of people, and most people aren't shopping. They're just like walking around. The only ones who are shopping, what I noticed when I was there, were all the tourists,
Right, right.
but all the locals were just hanging out and everything. So um, they've got movie theaters in there. They've got bowling alleys. So they've got all different kinds of stuff in the mall besides just the shops and the restaurants.
So movie theaters, are they showing like what's popular here in America? Is there
Yes.
a lag in the movies? Sometimes they have
No,
that.
I can't remember what I saw like at the theater listing, but I remember it was something that I had just seen of a preview here in the
Right.
US. So it wasn't too bad. And then of course they have local movies.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I remember going to the Philippines like in the 90s, and I was like, this movie came out like half a year ago.
Yeah,
and it's
no.
just now coming out in like the Philippines. But
No.
I guess now in the world, they just released everybody all at once.
Yeah.
Seems like. But you watch any of the local movies?
No, because oh, and that's another thing over there. It's English is not really that prevalent. Not like in other Asian countries where a lot of people do speak English. In Thailand, it's very rare, or if they do, they just know the basics. And so a lot
Okay.
of times we would just have to like when we go to restaurants, we would just have to point to what we want on the menu. Or if we use a translator app a lot of times, because when we were asking questions, they were looking at us like, huh? And so we use a translator app, and that's how everyone was doing it, even like at the hotels.
Right. Yeah, I recommend if you go to a foreign country, if you don't
Mhm.
understand the language, go watch an action film. You'll be highly entertained. That's what I did in the Philippines. It's like I don't understand what they're saying, but the action is pretty amusing.
Yeah.
Anything else you did in Thailand? I saw that you went to some place that's very popular on social media that people like to film.
Which one? The market?
The train.
Oh, the train market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this one market. It's literally at a train station, and it's on the way to a train station. And so everyone has all their stuff out, in front of them. And then there's an announcement that comes on that the train is coming. So then you see all the vendors pulling all their merchandise in towards the building,
Right.
just so that the train can pass.
And I'd seen that all over social media, like people posting this thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is cool," and everyone wants to film themselves because you're like literally right up against the train as it's going by.
Like I literally touched the train
Yeah.
just to see. I mean, it's really close. There is a red line in front of the vendors markets, and so that they always tell you have to be behind the red line, and
Right.
that's what they'll do. They'll get all right. So oh yeah, I think they can hear us.
They can hear us. I'll have to speak louder.
Sure.
All right, so computer went down is all that happened. So we'll have to go. The show must go on. So I guess I'll speak louder. Hopefully, if you're in the chat, let me know if you can hear me talking.
Speaking of the chat, we do have quite a few greeting us from Fort Worth. We have Renz greeting us, Pauline, Rochelton. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We also have Julie from Fort Worth, Jane, and Clay. Now, all the way from New Jersey, Jeff is greeting us as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, Renz does have a question here.
What's his question?
He asked, did you go farther than the city? And he also said something about souvenirs.
So yes, I did go outside of the city because the train market itself is not in Bangkok. They say it is, but it's about an hour and a half away. And then I also went to the floating market, which was the coolest thing. The floating market, everyone's on their boats, and you're on a boat and you're going through the river, which was brown, very brown river. And they've got all their merchandise on the sides, or else they have all their merchandise in boats. And so you're passing by and they'll show you what they have. Normally fruits. And that was another thing. They had a lot of the good tropical fruits, like mangoes, papayas, guava. And they would just have it there sliced up, ready to go. And you just pull up to the boat next to them and you buy their stuff. They even had people cooking like Thai food. So we had a lady in a boat cooking pad Thai. So it was pretty cool.
Now I'm curious about like being culturally sensitive when traveling to other countries.
Oh, yes.
What are some things you should not do when you're in Thailand?
Okay, so I know this might sound funny, but for them, the head is like the most sacred thing. And so it's not a good idea for you to touch anybody's head. Now, if you're like a parent with your child, that's okay. But like random strangers, you don't want to go touching their heads. And the other thing is for them, the feet is like the dirtiest part of the body. And so they don't want, your feet is really just for walking. So they don't want you pointing things with your feet. And like with some Filipinos, how they like to pick things up with their feet. They don't want you to do that. And they don't want you propping things up, like putting your feet up on anything, because for them, like I said, it's dirty. And a lot of places, you have to take your shoes off. So whether it's a restaurant, sometimes it's a store, sometimes
You can mute on your end.
or it's just different things where you take your shoes off. But for sure, when you go people's houses or when you go to the palace, you got to take your shoes off.
Okay, looks like we are back. And if you're in the live chat, let us know if there's any sound problems or anything, if you can't hear us. So we'll have our tech monitor the chat. You can help us out this morning. All right, so we're back and up and running. You were talking about social faux pas in Thailand.
Yes.
So feet, no go.
No.
Be real conservative about it.
Yes.
Open-toed shoes are fine though, right?
Yeah, you can do that. They just don't want you pointing with your feet or holding the door open with your feet. They don't want you doing anything with your feet except for walking.
But they also want you to remove your shoes wherever you go.
Yes, at the houses, like every time you get a massage, they'll actually go and wash your feet before they give you a massage, because like I said, they think that the feet's like the dirtiest part of your body, so they always do that. And then another thing that's not allowed is to speak negatively about the king.
Okay. Yeah.
So
freedom of speech is nothing there.
in public, you can only say good things about the king. You can't say anything bad. And then public display of affection is frowned upon.
Okay.
Even if you're married and everything, they don't like that in public. Now, one of the things I found really interesting was that you can't fly any flag unless it's a Thai flag. And if you're going to be on any kind of a microphone, you have to be speaking Thai. You cannot be like announcing other things in other languages. It has to be in Thai.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of their laws. And the weirdest law I thought, which was crazy, you can go to prison for 10 years if you have in your possession more than 120 playing cards.
Playing cards.
So like if you have playing cards, you can have a deck, right? But you can't have like multiple decks at one time.
Right.
Because that is punishable by 10 years in prison.
10 years in prison.
Yes.
It makes me think that they must have had a problem with that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Very specific.
I don't know.
This many cards, we're going to throw you in prison for 10 years. I wanted to bring that up though, because like most places around the world are not the United States.
No.
And how they do the laws and the way they think about like justice and all that, it's much different. So you got to make sure you brush yourselves up on the cultural do's and don'ts, because if you cross the line there, they will throw you in jail. No,
they will. And when I had decided to go to Bangkok with my nephew, I didn't like look anything up. I didn't plan anything because it was a last minute thing. And so on our plane ride, I was talking to my nephew and I'm like, hey, so what did you learn? And so he was the one telling me these things and I'm like, what? And then he would tell me why and all that. So I was glad that he actually started looking things up, because I told him, I go, you are not in the US, you better not do anything to get yourself arrested. So luckily he did his research. So
right. That's good. Yeah, because I remember like growing up, at least in the 90s when they were talking about Singapore, like they banned like chewing gum.
Yeah, you
was a
can't
big
chew gum.
thing.
It's against the law.
And it was like a really serious offense if you had chewing gum on you. So
Yeah.
yeah, so just little things like that. Of course, you can look it up on the internet pretty easily, right?
Oh yeah, nowadays you could just search anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always good to do that when, you know, because we're guests in another country. We don't want to, you know, cause trouble, you know, wherever we go.
Yeah. And there's certain statues you can't take out of the country also.
Statues.
Yeah, they have like their religious statues. Technically you have to have permission to take one out of the country.
Reminds me of Hawaii and their volcanic rocks. They don't want you taking the volcanic rocks. I think part of it is because if they allowed it, then everybody would be, you know, basically stripping the mountain off of that island. I remember
we have a few more greetings on here, and also some questions from the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and read a few more of our greetings. So we have somebody viewing us, and their name is Elmira. They're joining us here this morning. Marites is all the way from Tulsa, GWS. JR is also tuning in from Fort Worth, and Renz has a question. He's wondering, did you see the elephants? Because he said that he heard about a zoo or a farm. That's one of the main attractions.
Okay, so I wanted to go see the elephants, and I wanted to go ride the elephants like everyone does when they go to Thailand. And my nephew said, no, we are not doing that. And I'm like, why? He goes, do you know about like animal cruelty and all that stuff with those animals? And so I guess he's watched documentaries on it. And so he refused to do that. And so I was like, okay, that's okay. So we didn't do the elephants, but they did have like where you could take pictures with tigers and snakes and all kinds of animals, but we opted not to do that just because.
Yeah. Any other greetings and questions?
That's it for now. I do have a question because you were talking about how the laws there are a little different. As far as littering, is it pretty clean, or?
You know what? Surprisingly, it is, because if you litter, they do fine you like 2,000 bahts, which is their money over there. And a lot of people are not rich. Like I was talking to one of the people, they only make like 300 bahts a day. So that's about $10 a day is their salary. And so, you know, you cannot afford to litter. And like I said, I didn't know what to expect when I first decided to go. And I was thinking it was going to be dirty, like I've seen other like third world countries, but it was surprisingly pretty clean.
Is it considered a third world?
I don't know. I don't
know where the distinctions
I just
are.
thought everything outside of the U.S. except for Europe.
So
to be fair, I think everything out of Texas is a third world country.
Would you say that it's strictly enforced then, those laws?
Oh yeah. They enforce a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I think that's the good thing. I mean, it's different because like you said, it's not like the US where you have like freedom of everything. Over there, they really will punish you for the littlest things.
Right. So we were talking about their currency. So how affordable is everything there?
Oh my gosh. My nephew got excited every time we did something because he would convert it to dollars. We went out, like I said, we were shopping for souvenirs, and the first mall we went to, it was like a higher end type of a mall. And so we went to the restaurant, and he had like a chicken stir fry with rice. He had a mango shake because that is his favorite. And then we had roti, which is like their version of a crepe, all under $5.
Wow. So a really substantial meal for under $5.
Yes.
Okay.
And their portions are not like tiny, you know, it's enough to fill you. Like I couldn't finish a plate whenever I ate stuff over there, but and their food is good. So, you know, my go-to here when I go to a Thai restaurant is pad Thai, because that's the only thing I know. And so, you know how here it's like kind of an orangish color?
Yeah.
I ordered pad Thai over there, and they gave me something that was beige. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is not going to have any flavor. But when I tasted it, it was just so good. So they don't add like coloring and all these preservatives.
Right.
And everything is out fresh. Like it's not coming from refrigerators or anything like that. All their food is fresh organic. And so it was just so delicious. It didn't look as appealing because it didn't have the colors I was used to, but it was just so good.
You know, I've seen that before, like with the orange soda.
Mm-hmm.
They show like orange soda overseas, and it's like, okay, that looks like, you know, if you squeeze an orange,
Yeah.
it's like a pale yellow. But not here in the States. We need to
Yeah.
have our neons.
No, because even like with mango shake, because I love fruits, and so
Mhm.
they had a stand right across from our hotel, and their mango shake literally is just mango and ice, and then a little bit of water, and it just tastes so good. They didn't add anything else.
Right.
And then when we did also like a mixed fruit where they put in the dragon fruit, watermelon, papaya, and all that, and it's literally them cutting it up right there, sticking it in a blender, and it is a shake.
Since we've arrived on food, perfect transition. What other food did we try?
So I tried other, I don't know what they were called. I would just read the description and then point at it at the menu. And so I did try other foods over there that I never would try at a Thai restaurant here. And like I said, there wasn't anything there that I ate that I didn't like.
Is most of it spicy? Because that's the impression we get here in the States.
They will ask you how much spice you want.
Okay.
And so a lot of it, they do have a lot of spices there, and a lot of it is spicy. But I was like, no, just make it as mild as possible. My cousin came with me also, and he loves spicy. So he had, you know, anything spicy, and he loved it.
So what kind of dishes are we talking about?
So they do a lot of noodles and a lot of rice
Okay.
dishes, and then they do like stir fry and everything else. But and then their meats is your regular, you know, chicken, pork, shrimp, squid. But they do have gross things there too.
Gross things.
When you're walking in the market, and when you're walking in a market, they had like cockroaches, grasshoppers, scorpions that they cook or something because people were eating it. And I wanted to take a picture, but all the stands, if you take a picture, they charge you just to take a picture of that stuff. And then
They learned.
the other one that was really nasty, they had like a baby alligator
Mm-hmm.
propped up, and they are literally,
Barbecuing it.
I don't know, it was just nasty. I don't know. It just looked gross.
I mean, I want to say that's unusual, but we live next to Louisiana.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Have you ever had alligator before?
No,
It tastes like chicken.
no, I'm not gonna try.
Everything tastes like chicken.
And then
But yeah, it tastes like chicken.
And then they do a lot of skewers. So a lot of the stuff is like handheld, you know, because even when you have things to go, they don't
Mhm.
provide like forks or anything. So a lot of it is like skewers. And so there's this one place where they were doing barbecue, and every single part of the chicken that you can think of,
Okay.
they had it on a skewer. So they had, you know, your regular chicken, and then they had the gizzards, and then they had other parts of the body that I would not even try eating.
I find that funny because like here in the States, everything here is like chicken breast,
Mhm.
but everywhere else in the world, they're like, why would you eat that? That's like the blandest part of the chicken.
Yeah, they were just eating all kinds of stuff.
Speaking of food, we have another comment here, and I'm not sure if you've tried it, but Renz said roti.
Yeah, that's the one that's like that's their version of crepes. It was really good. The only thing is it's you know, with the crepe, the crepe is actually soft.
Mhm.
This one, it starts out soft, but then they fry it in butter.
So
And
is
so
it
it's more crispy.
sweet or savory?
You could do both.
Okay.
So if you want the sweet, which I did the Nutella with the strawberries and the banana. And then they have it savory where you could put eggs and cheese. So it's really thin, but it was just so good. And yeah, for $1.
Do they have American fast food there?
They do. Taco Bell's very popular over there. Burger King,
Mexican food.
McDonald's. So yeah, all of our regular fast
We don't
food
sponsor
places.
any of those, by the
Sorry.
way.
But yeah, they do. They had a lot. And even at the malls, like
Yeah.
pretzel places.
Did you ever eat at any of the fast food?
No, we did go in because what I like to do is when I go different places, I like to see the different menus that they
Right,
would
yeah.
have. And so with like the burger joints, they had different stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what always fascinates me.
Yeah, even like their pies, they had different
The
pies.
pie is what stands out.
Yeah. So things like that. And so I would just look, but we did not eat. The only place
Right.
we did eat or get stuff from on a regular basis, like coffee in the morning. They also had popular coffee chains over there.
I know. Did you have the coffee there, by the way?
No,
No, because I know
no.
that like Southeast Asian coffee is a totally different beast.
It's strong.
Yes,
My cousin said it was really strong,
it's
but
a completely different bean than what we're used to. It's
No.
not supposedly not supposed to taste as good, but the caffeine level, like you notice as you're drinking it, you're like, whoa,
yeah.
What
this has
about
caffeine in it.
tea? Because here it's popular Thai tea. There's different colors too. Have you tried any of them?
I didn't try it, but they did have the different varieties at the restaurants. It's just tea with milk. So I stuck to my fresh coconuts because it's rare we can get it here, and over there for $1 you can get a whole coconut, and then they chop off the top. You drink it, and then when you're done
Right.
drinking it, they'll cut it in half so you could have the flesh.
Yeah, unfortunately, coconuts don't grow up here in Dallas.
Another question from the chat from Renz. Do you have a tourist guide in certain places that you went to?
No, I do a lot of research usually when I go places, and I like to look at things. A lot of times with my nephew, he likes to look at where the locals go instead of where all the tourists go. So we try different things. But I mean, I used to do travel guides before when I used to travel, but then it didn't take me to places that I really wanted to go. So then I learned to just try to find things, and getting around Bangkok is so easy. It's bad because there is a lot of traffic, but they have rideshare apps there also.
Okay.
And to get me from the airport to the hotel, which was about 28 miles, it was like $10.
Nice.
And then anywhere we wanted to go, like from the hotel to the malls or anything like that, it was like $3.
I'm glad you brought that up, because what about safety? How safe is it to travel there?
I felt really safe over there. I would be more scared to walk into other cities in the U.S. than I would over there.
Like Arlington, Texas.
I was gonna say Oakland, but
Oakland.
I don't know if we could.
Or we could just step outside and feel unsafe at night.
Yeah, no,
Here.
it was really safe. We were walking around at night. What I noticed there is people don't wake up early there. Usually things don't start happening till like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
And
I'm all about that.
Yeah, and so they stay open way later. A lot of the restaurants or a lot of the food stalls are open till like 2, 3 in the morning.
A nation of night owls. I could do that.
And they have a lot of night markets. So it was I did not feel threatened in any way. And I think because the area I stayed at had a lot of tourists.
Okay.
And I think one thing that I also noticed over there was I didn't see or even hear of like pickpocketers.
That's good to know.
It wasn't something, not like in other countries where they always warn you about pickpocketers. Over there,
Right.
I did not see any, and I didn't like I said, I didn't feel like I was threatened in any way. So
Yeah, typically if I travel to a city I'm not familiar with, it's a big city, I'll have like a kind of like a fanny pack.
mhm.
It kind of fit underneath your shirt instead of in your pockets. Because my mom has been pickpocketed before
Oh wow.
in the Philippines. Fortunately, we caught them.
Yeah.
Fortunately. So, but yeah, it's always good to know safety precautions.
Yeah.
But that's good to know that it's a safe place to
It
visit,
is.
especially for tourists.
Yeah, and like I said, the area we stayed at had a lot of tourists. I met a lot of people from Italy, from Germany, even from the UK and other parts of the US. It is a place that a lot of people go to because, like I said, it's affordable. For the place that we stayed at for 6 nights, $100.
$100.
The whole 6 nights.
Yeah, that'd be like one night here.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I was looking up hotels and everything. I'm like $100 a night, but it was $100 for the whole trip. So I was like, okay, I guess we're staying there.
It's almost getting to where it's cheaper to. You could probably just like fly there and then live
Yeah.
there.
No, you know what? And that's another thing. When I was leaving, my nephew goes, Auntie, I don't think I want to go back home. I think I just want to stay here. I'm like, well, you better go find yourself like a remote job because living there is not expensive at all.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, one time we went to an actually fancy restaurant, kind of, not just the markets. And between the 3 of us, we spent under $30. So
That's not bad for 3.
yeah.
Yeah, because usually if I'm spending $30 for like the three of us in our family. It's
Fast food joint.
yeah, yeah. No, not even. I mean, that's
Yeah.
more expensive fast food.
It's
but,
it's very affordable.
Any final shout outs you'd like to give?
Um already. Well, I just want to give a shout out to Riley, my nephew. That's the one that's studying abroad over there. I'm trying to get him to turn on his tracking app so that I could track him to make sure he's still okay. But yeah, just to Riley, and I hope he enjoys his time there.
All right. Any final thoughts you'd like to give on Thailand to our audience?
Yeah, I mean, if Thailand was never one of the things for me to visit, it was never in the plans for me to go visit. So I'm kind of glad my nephew decided to go to school there. But it is a nice place to visit. The people there are very friendly. The food, whether we ate at a restaurant or like in a makeshift shack on the street, it was actually really good.
Would you go back?
I would. I actually already have plans of going back. I plan to go back in December when my nephew's done with school, and then that way we're going to go to other parts of Thailand. We're going to go to like the beach areas.
That's what I'm curious about too, because when we were prepping for this show, looking at the map, I was like, "Oh, you were just in Bangkok. That's just one tiny part of this country."
Yeah.
Because it looks like you got further inland. You probably have some mountains.
Yes.
And their entire coastline, which wraps around Bangkok, basically. So. Yeah, I bet there's a lot more to that country.
That's our goal. And so I told him while he's there, because his classes are only Monday through Thursday. So I told him like Friday through Sunday, if he travels, check out other parts of Thailand. So that way, when we return in December, we'll have an idea of where we want to go.
Excellent. All right. That brings us to the end of today's show. So I would like to thank our CFO coordinator and SEBC president, Brother Angelo Ranyo V. Manalo. And of course, our executive minister, Brother Eduardo Manalo. We thank you, our audience, for joining us here today. Do we have any final shout outs or in the comments?
Yeah, Gilbert joined us this morning, so thank you so much. And also, Ren says that he would like Tokyo next so that he can plan his vacation there.
Tokyo is a good place too. So
It's expensive though.
Right now, it's not, because right now the dollar is higher than the yen.
Okay.
And so it's not as bad, but it is more expensive than Thailand, that's for sure. But right now, it's not too bad. But clothing is cheap over there.
Who else we got? We got a little bit of time.
It was the same, folks. So, just really appreciate everybody joining us this morning. And hopefully you'll join us again next week.
Excellent. All right. Well, we thank you for joining us here today. It's a little bit cooler outside, so if you're here in the South Central States area, be sure to take advantage of that, because I think we've had to stay indoors. Past few weeks have been well over 100. But have a good day. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
model students, helping the elderly when in need, obeying our parents, doing house chores,
and sharing the true faith are just some of the qualities that young members of the Church of Christ possess.
As members of the Church of Christ, it is fundamental for the youth to always live according to the true Christian values.
Oh, ano yung ginagawa mo? Resume?
Opo, ate.
Akala ko ba natanggap ka na doon sa pinag-applyan mo abroad? Maganda pa naman ang benefits doon at malaki ang salary. At may option pa man din na madadala mo ang pamilya natin doon after 3 years.
It's not that I don't like it, ate. Kaso sa kontrata kasi once a month lang ang day off. Paano ako makakasamba? Diba sa ating mga iglesia ni Cristo, priority natin ang pagsamba at pagtupad ng tungkulin. Kaya ayun, hindi ko tinanggap ang offer.
Tama yan. Unahin natin lagi ang pagsamba sa Diyos at ang Ama ang bahala sa atin. Ibibigay niya kung ano ang kalooban niya para sa iyo. Kaya huwag kang mag-alala. Makikita mo, may pagkakaloob siyang mas makabubuti para sa iyo.
Tama yan, ate, at sigurado yan. Pero, teka, tingnan mo nga kung ano po bang magandang ilagay dito.
This is INCRadio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.